Warning, warning. This is a global ice out. Testing the right speaker. Right. Testing the left speaker. Left. Sound successfully recovered. Swan Commander. Connected. And now, the countdown has begun. And now, are you ready for a journey that goes beyond the norms? The Federal Prospects Hockey League just celebrated its 15th anniversary. With a footprint and fan base rapidly expanding, Swan Hockey is now bringing you behind the scenes. Beyond what you see at games. Beyond the arenas. Beyond the crowds. This is FPHL, Beyond the Glass.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass. I'm your host, Eric Swanek, Swan Commander on social media. This is the official podcast of the Federal Prospects Hockey League, and it is almost playoff time. We're coming down to the home stretch. Previous last handful of episodes, we've mentioned time to time about the tight races in the divisions with the playoff seedings, tight races as the teams are jockeying here for the final seeding. And some of those races are starting to form a little bit more, still not over by any means. We got Danbury right on the heels of the final playoff spot in the Empire, and Twin City on the heels of the final playoff spot in the Continental. Still plenty of hockey left, but some of the seedings are a little less tight than they were in previous weeks. But this episode, we're going to sit down with the team that everyone's had the bullseye on all season long, the Binghamton Black Bears. We're going to be joined by head coach Brant Sherwood, and we're also going to sit down with Dave Jackson. He is back for some suspensions. And let's dive into this. What's going on, Dave? How are you?
Eric, how you doing? It's been a while. Good to be back. Good to be back. How are you?
Great to have you back. Doing good.
Yeah, we had a nice little break. You know, the Olympics gave me 3 weeks off, so went away for a week. Did a bunch of other things, small move. So now I'm back to hockey.
Yep. Back to normal swing of things. So, all right, let's dive into it. Suspensions. What do you got?
I think guys are behaving. This weekend was awesome. We focused on hockey. We focused on the big plays. We focused on teams, the playoff races. It was great. We had 2 suspensions. We had one for a guy speared a guy in the groin area. There might be an adjustment to that suspension. There's an appeal going right now. We'll wait and see. And then we had one more. Unfortunately, we had one more suspension that falls under the FPHL Executive Board slur and lewd gesture policy. This is a policy that was established by the Executive Board 2 years ago because of the rampant use of words that just in today's society we can't be using, whether it's racial, sexual orientation, or mental acuity if someone's mentally challenged. And it's offensive to a lot of people, especially if it's uttered loud and in a derogatory manner. And there's just some guys that can't seem to understand or control what they utter. So unfortunately, we had another first offense, 2-game suspension, and hopefully we just keep hammering these guys. I'm not sure what it's going to take. Maybe someone gets suspended for a year for a third offense.
I feel like we talk about it every week at this point. I think sooner or later everyone's going to get it.
Yeah, we absolutely do. But I guess it's just baby steps, right? Evolution, not revolution. Trying to just keep trying to apply the rule and hope that we get the modification of players' behavior, but we'll see where that goes. That's it. That's all we had this weekend.
Yeah, well, I guess it's tightening up, which is good. I hopefully, a lot of guys being smart enough to realize that they don't want to be suspended for playoffs, and obviously big games for a lot of teams, a lot of tight races. Um, looks like the divisions are starting to kind of settle a bit and what potential matchups could look like. But yeah, hopefully everyone will be on their best behavior, and a lot of important hockey coming up.
There sure is, and I enjoy being busy, but I don't mind not being busy when players decide they're going to play hockey and behave. So it's a win-win for me. I mean, they're busy working, or I'm enjoying great hockey and I have nothing to do, kind of like the Maytag repairman. But either way, it's all good.
Yeah, well, and less is more at this point too, right? It means that what you've been doing is working, and obviously, player safety, keeping the players safe. The more, the less issues we're having, the more the player safety program's working, right?
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. What do you think about? There's been a lot of or some controversy over some replays lately.
Yeah, I think what people don't understand is that we instituted video replay, very similar to the NHL's policy. What people don't seem to understand is that we don't do video review to get the call or to make the call. It's there as a support. If something is egregiously miscalled, if something's egregiously overcalled or undercalled, and or whether it be an offside or a goal that should not be a goal, or it definitely was a goal. We don't have the capability of the NHL. We don't have 15 cameras in every rink at every angle to where everything can be dissected and slowed down. I mean, these guys are going to the penalty box. There's no situation room. They're making the call on the ice. They're making the call in real time, making the best call they can. And sometimes when they go to review, it supports their call or it overturns their call. But for fans to think that we're going to remedy a 1-inch offside, or we're going to remedy like a goaltender interference when we're using a center ice camera, it's not there. We just don't have the capability to do what we can do in the NHL, and that's just we're single A hockey. We're within a budget. Fans need to realize that the call on the ice by the referees is 90 to 95% of the time going to be the outcome of the call. Video is there to support if something was egregiously missed, and it'll probably show it. It'll probably show it. Otherwise, video is not going to change the call on the ice. It's just logistics. So deal with it, and the call on the ice is probably going to stand 90% of the time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I like the factor of human error. Like, that's me personally. I like the factor of human error because I think it translates into a skill. Certain situations, I think, translate into a skill of a player too. And like, for instance, like penalties, right? And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago with Don, like, where sometimes fans are wondering, they're watching a game, like, how did the ref miss that? And I said, you know what? Don't think that the players aren't taught, hey, if you look around and ref's not watching, give the guy a little whack in the back of the calf. That absolutely happens. And it's part of the player kind of being a little sneaky and everything. And I think, maybe that translates into a little bit of some of the offsides. Guy's really good at shielding a puck. Guy calculates all that, where the ref is standing, heated him, that split second moment, and makes a really sneaky play and gets away with that half-inch offsides. Like, I think there's like an art to that to some extent. And
you're absolutely
right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think also what people don't understand, if you've never refereed a hockey game, you have no idea how fast it is and how much you need to have eyes in the back of your head. And when something gets missed, whether it be an NHL game or a Fed League game, and people go, how'd that get missed? I could put my hand up and go, I know how it got missed.
Yeah.
Because I've missed those things. I did over 1,500 games in the NHL. The amount of calls I missed, and I laid in my bed at night going, how did I miss that? Well, I know how I missed it. And people need to understand, they go, there's 4 sets of eyes on the ice. Well, there really isn't, because the 2 linesmen are primarily tasked with watching the puck, making sure it's not icing, making sure it's not offside, making sure it doesn't get shot out of play. Their primary focus is puck focus. They're looking at the puck 99% of the time. If they can help a referee out and get lucky and catch a spear, catch something else, that's a bonus, but that's not their primary focus. Then you got two referees, so you got two sets of eyes. We put a second referee on the ice, not to overrule the other guy. We put a second set of eyes on the ice to catch the stuff that one referee's not seeing. So those two referees should not be looking at the same thing. Right. So when it comes down to it, when something gets missed, it's still missed by one set of eyes.
That's a great point.
If the other three guys pick it up, that's a bonus. But we put the second referee on the ice to increase the coverage, so stuff away from the play gets caught. But when something gets missed, it's usually one guy who misses it. So having four sets of eyes sounds like, oh, what an egregious outrage that four guys missed it. Yeah. But it's not the case. And if you've never refereed that, you don't understand that. I don't blame you, but I'm here to tell you that it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, that's a great point, that it's more coverage, not more layers. So
Totally. You know, and majority of stuff that gets missed, I bet you the fans miss it as well until they look up at the Jumbotron and go, they're outraged. How was that missed? You didn't see it either. Right? So, I mean, come on. These guys are doing their best.
Yeah.
And for fans to say that they're biased against the team, they're trying to throw a game, 100% wrong. Every referee wants to get in and out and be not noticed. It's not fun to be looking on social media and people accusing you of favoring a team or not. It's a terrible feeling. Yeah. That's not how referees are wired. That's not how anybody I know has ever refereed a hockey game. You want to do the best job you can. You're proud of what you do. And you want to do your best. That's it. Things get missed, mistakes get made.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing I wanted to say, going back to the video review, because I saw I saw some of your social media stuff having this, it was about an NHL game. I forget which game it was, but if I remember correctly, the gist of it, somebody was complaining that I think it was a too many men. And you were basically saying, hey, look, like we can't go into replay with that because now you got to create a line. Like, where's the line? So if it's supposed to be 3 feet from the bench, do we call the penalty with 3 feet and 1 inch from the bench? Like there's got to be, like if you add that layer of review, now you got to add that layer of a line and a rule. And it's just a place that nobody really wants to go to.
Exactly. And what people don't realize or complain about is that high sticks and too many men. People seem to think that those are black and white, but hooking, interference, tripping, those aren't black and white. So that, I think it was the Canada-US game or the Canada-Slovakia game where Slovakia had 6 players right in the play. Yeah, they did. It was a miss too many men. And they went down and they scored the go-ahead goal. And
I think that was it. You were saying like you can't use video review to call back based off of a penalty or something.
Everybody wanted to go back on video review. And my question to them was, instead of 6 guys on the ice, what if that had been a trip?
Right. Or how far back do you go, you're saying too?
What if it had been a blatant trip back? Or a blatant hold? Do we go back and wind it back for anything that happens before that whistle? Oh, look, there was a trip there, no goal.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You just cannot do it. You can't call penalties by video review. You can confirm a penalty, you can reduce the penalty. You can't call penalties by video review because then you're opening up a Pandora's box. The games will take 4 hours. Every time there's a goal scored, we can back it up, 3 minutes? Maybe there wasn't a whistle. Let's see if there's any missed penalties. And then who decides if it's a missed penalty?
Right.
So that too many men was blatant, but what if it hadn't been blatant? What if it had been like you said? You're supposed to change 5 feet. What if we pan over to the bench and there was a line change there away from the play, but the guy changed at 6 feet? Well, technically that's a penalty. So we're going to take a goal away for that? It's ridiculous. We can't do it.
Yeah, it's a place that nobody wants to go. The game is perfectly imperfect. And
exactly.
Yeah. Well, no, sounds great, Dave. I'll be right back at it next week.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Sounds awesome. I'll see you soon.
Enjoy the hockey this weekend. All right. See you guys.
Thank you. See ya. All right. Before we head over to Brant, let's do our proof of attendance token code for watching this episode. The code is going to be playoffs. Enter the code at swanhockey.io on the podcast page, and you will be eligible to receive your proof of attendance token for watching this episode. The codes must be entered by 9 p.m. Eastern, the night that this show airs, Wednesday night. And our magic number is 5. Collect 5 or more tokens, and you will have access to the member-only chat inside Club Fed in the Swan Hockey Discord server. What's going on, Brant? Welcome back. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Eric. It's good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. We had a great first episode. Might as well do it again.
No problem.
So how's everything going in Binghamton?
It's going well. We actually we gave the players a nice 4-day break. We like to hand out these breaks early in the fall when you get through training camp, get through that first month. We gave them a few days off, and then we give them a nice Christmas break. And I guess this is our little spring break. So a couple guys went to Florida. A couple guys are still working on their game up in Binghamton, but it's a good opportunity for staff and players to get home if they kind of need to, or get a nice little
Yeah.
reset, keep the mind and body fresh for this final push in the playoffs.
Yeah. Now, was this break happening regardless, or is this break a result of being fortunate of the hard work that you guys have done all year and your position in the standings where, hey, we have the luxury now of we can take a break. We're not in do or die moments down the stretch here.
It's a non-negotiable. So even though we ended up losing on Saturday, as much as I wanted us to hit the ice, Tuesday and have our work day going, you kind of have to stick to these things. And
Yeah.
I do think a part of it is earning it during the season. Maybe if we weren't doing so well, I might reconsider a break like this if, we were on a 5-game skid or something like that. But I do think it's good to get away from the rink and, get the mind and body right and make sure that, there's a little bit more to outside of hockey. So when they do come back, they're ready to go and they're all in, and it's not as much of a drag through the dog days of winter.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to, good to reset and everything. What's the kind of, I guess, like the mentality here down the stretch? You guys are seeing how the playoff format is starting to shape up with teams now kind of separating themselves in the standings a bit. We had that, that fourth spot was being, it was a battle that was kind of neck and neck for a while. Same thing in the other division too, which was interesting. Both divisions, that final playoff spot was, a very tight race. They're both starting to separate now. For you guys, does it matter one way or another? Was there somebody that you prefer to see round one, or something or now that it's starting to separate, do you start paying more attention to, one team than the other? Or how's that work for you in terms of preparation and even just like, coaching duties?
From kind of the business side of things, we want the closer opponent. So we would like to have Blue Ridge as far as travel goes and proximity. But ultimately, it really doesn't matter. It's about prepping our own game and making sure we're harping on the right details and kind of starting our playoff style a little bit. Like during the regular season, some guys might take the option on finishing their hits off the forecheck or planting themselves in front or being physical as far as boxing guys out net front or ending plays early in the trenches, stuff like that. So we need to really harp on those details because playoff hockey is a little bit different than the regular season. So we're just working on our own game going into playoffs. It really doesn't matter what opponent we'll see.
Yeah, and I like that more. Just kind of control what you can control, and kind of like, hey, regardless of what happens around us, we're going to bring the same thing, and control our own destinies. So yeah, I'm pulling the standings up here. I just wanted to look at them. Yeah, so actually, Blue Ridge and Topeka I misspoke before. Blue Ridge and Topeka are neck and neck. Topeka's got a couple games in hand. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it comes down here down the stretch. And in terms of like a coach mentality for you, and I don't know how much you want to give away, but do you start resting certain guys more down the stretch, or there's certain things like where it's kind of like, hey, yeah, we're not going to pick that battle tonight. We're just going to kind of let it unfold. Like, we know the result we want, but we're not, at what cost?
100%. And a lot of that has to do with more so bringing in college players and making sure they get their games in. So you're kind of picking and choosing a lot of this. This time of year, it's a lot of roster management, different line combinations. And I think those kind of last 4 games, you kind of want to have a good picture of what you're going into with playoffs. But it's a bit of a scramble. It's by far my busiest time of the year. I'm on the phone a lot with college coaches and players and making sure not only are we getting the right guys in for this year, but also preparing for next year as well. You want to get these guys foot in the door, and they might not make too big of an impact this year, but they could have a big impact going into the next year, and that's what we've done in the past with, guys like Nick Swain, Scotty Ramakers, forgetting that Connor Smith, Dakota Bond, stuff like that. Those guys come in at the end of their season, and they might get a little taste. They might get in playoffs. They might not, but more so preparing ourselves for next year and making sure that we have reinforcements going into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it. And, as I said the previous time you were on, I mean, you've gotten a ton of compliments from every other team in the league over the summer series of this podcast. And I think everything that you just said just kind of sums that up, right? Like where, your mentality now is kind of like, hey, we're where we want to be. Now we drive it home. Now it's time to work harder. Now it's time to, step it up even more, where other guys, and I'm not saying necessarily guys in this league, but just coaches in general, in any sport really, it's easy to get complacent and be like, hey, we're, dominating. We've been dominating for 3 years now. We're good. We can coast a little bit. I'm going to take this night off. I'm not going to worry about that guy. I'm not going to worry about that position where you're, again, and I think that's one of the things that, attributes to, everything that everybody was saying is that now you're just kind of like, hey, now it's time to step on next. Like,
yeah, I mean, Coach Q and I, we're never going to stop trying to get better and harping on the details and making sure they're there in video and they're in the game. So we're constantly trying to make adjustments to make our team better. And I don't think it stops going into playoffs. It's constant. And if you're not doing that, then kind of what are you doing? Coasting it out, hoping, crossing your fingers, stuff like that. So there's a heavy prep into those two opponents that we could possibly play, maybe even Danbury as well. They're not a bad team. But yeah, we'll face that when we need to in that last week. But we're just right now trying to make ourselves better each and every week. And there's always a weakness to work on from the past weekend. And there's always something to prepare for the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, and especially like we've talked about before, like especially with the playoff format in this league, best 2 or 3. It's I mean, like you see like NHL series sometimes where it's kind of like a team wins the series 4-2. It's like, hey, we took 2 games off. We can't do that next series. Like there is no next series here, right? So like you got to be on your game. You got like there is no time for a lapse or a night off. I mean, in this league, I mean, 2 periods off could be a disaster. Like
big time. That's why we really harp on the Friday road game. So that's because typically the past couple of years we've had home ice advantage. So
yeah,
we really want to take care of that first game on the road. And that's partly due to our ownership doing the right things. We make sure we do a travel day, get in there early Thursday night, make sure the guys have a nice dinner. And then we're ready to go for that pregame skate at the away rink and get the job done Friday night. Now, sometimes we've, dropped that Saturday game, and it's about being a little bit, getting refocused and getting prepared again and kind of flushing the Friday night game and moving on as fast as you can. But, yeah, we've done pretty well with those Friday games, and we look to continue to do that going into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been the difference like this year, or is there no difference? Like what's different about this team versus last year versus the year before, or is everything pretty much the same? Like what's like how much of a difference is it year to year in this particular experience in Binghamton?
I think our team's very similar to teams in the past. I think we have a little bit more depth up front, but as far as decor and goaltending goes, I think it's very similar. It's a very close gap, but I would say the main difference is just having a bigger target on our back. We're going to get every team's championship game. Guys want to knock us off the pedestal even more than the previous year, because it's like I think just everyone's so sick of these Bears winning all the time that put their best foot forward, especially in our building. We've struggled a little bit at home compared to in the past. I think we've lost 4 games at home, and they're tight and hard fought, and we have a ton of heart and hustle in those games, but sometimes end up on the short end of the stick in a 1-goal game. So totally happens, but we expect everyone's best. It's just sometimes we might not be on the right end of things.
Yeah, you said you lost 4 games at home?
I believe so. I think it's 4 or 5. So we've done pretty well on the road this year. But at the beginning of the year, we lost to Athens. I think that was our biggest ass kicking, and it woke us up the next night. And I believe we 7-1 or something like that. But we've lost some close ones recently against PD and Carolina, and then we just dropped one to Danbury on Saturday night. But these are 1-goal games, shootouts. Sometimes you run into a hot goaltender, sometimes bad puck luck. You're not burying your grade A's, whatever it might be. But that's kind of been a little bit different compared to years in the past.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I think every other team in the league is like wishing they had your problems. Like, oh, we lost, I think 4 games.
Yeah, I guess we are. We're pretty spoiled. We're pretty spoiled.
Yeah.
So that's maybe it's not too bad.
Hey, Brant, what was the difference this year? Yeah, we lost 4 games.
Yeah. The sky might be gray in Binghamton, but it's always sunny in that arena.
Awesome. I love it. And like any difference, like in terms of I don't want to say I guess like mentality with the players, or any other obstacles that you guys have had to overcome or portray having to overcome, even nothing to your own doing, but even just like any other teams that maybe surprised you, or any like what obviously new expansion team, any other new challenges this year that's like, hey, you know what, like we didn't deal with this in years past, and so we had to learn, we had to deal with it, and we did, and we got past it. But this was something new and different that we had to prep for and execute.
I think there's more competitive teams out there, so I think the gap is getting a whole lot closer as far as competition goes. So one team that stands out to me is the PD Ice Cats. Like they came into our building, they won in, I believe it was overtime, or we won the first night, and then they ended up beating us the next night. But I thought they have a really high-paced game. They have a really good first line with Houston Wilson, Letkoff, and one of the brothers on that line. And they got us in a little bit of a hurricane cycle that we had some good videos to clip for the following week to make sure our D-zone structure's on point, and knowing where our switches are, knowing when the shut plays down and stuff like that. So sometimes these losses are the best thing for us, and we're able to hold them a little bit more accountable compared to some wins. So, I think competition has raised quite a bit, and there's a lot more parity in the league.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that you and I spoke about the first time, is like, opposite ends of the same spectrum. Like, in order to know how to win, you have to know how to lose, and how it's, like there is some benefit and value to, losing, even if it is 4 games, and learning how to overcome that, and, stuff that you don't want to be dealing with for the first time all season and in playoffs and whatnot.
We've had some other struggles with roster management, bad timing of injuries and getting guys, either they're figuring out their visa situations in the SP or losing guys to the coast, stuff like that. So there's been a couple weekends where we've had like 8 forwards, 5D, and I just look at it as an opportunity for maybe some guys to log some bigger minutes. So we've been handling those situations well, where they've pounced at that opportunity. Yeah,
for sure. And going back to like the PD games, like PD, I think is probably one of the, like, I guess unsung hero is, I mean, not unsung hero, but same category. Like they're a bit of a sleeper. I think I think they have more in them. Like Gary said that they have like the hardest schedule in the league, and he stood by that, all season long. And I had somebody else tell me the other day too, like how tough their schedule is. And, it's like they have had a pretty tough road.
I think that pod down there of Athens, Carolina, PD, and Columbus, that's by far the toughest pod. Now, no knock to Monroe. They have an amazing roster, and I think they got some tough games coming up. But I would say they're kind of similar to our schedule as far as, we played Watertown and Danbury a lot, and their records, aren't that great, just like Baton Rouge and I'm forgetting the other team.
Biloxi.
Biloxi, yeah. Kind of similar. So very much like Carolina, PD, Columbus, and Athens, they're battle tested, and that's going to help you a ton going into playoffs. So like our focus is sometimes our wins, our losses with ourselves, and maybe it's not our best game when we win, and that's what Quinville and I are here for, is to hold these guys accountable and make sure we're playing the right way going into playoffs, no matter what the opponent is.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because like Watertown, like you guys have played them a lot and have won a lot, but it's kind of like chicken or the egg, right? Like, are you guys winning a lot because you're playing them, or are they losing a lot because they're playing you, right? And so somebody told me the other day, I didn't check it, but somebody told me the other day, if you take the Black Bears off Watertown's schedule, they're over 500.
There you go. And,
which is
Watertown just beat Carolina this past weekend.
Yeah.
So look at how you want. Sometimes it's just as simple as matchups, how a team matches up against one another. So like, yeah, Watertown got a tough matchup this year, but what they're doing against some other teams, is pretty impressive, and you gotta take that into account. It's tough to do what Coachman's doing in such a small market. So them knocking off Carolina this past weekend has to be a boost of confidence for that group, and we're expecting a whole lot better Watertown Wolves going into this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, and that super battle tested pod in the other division, that works nice for you guys too, right? Because they got to go through each other to get to you guys, right? If you guys make it to the finals against them, it's they're like, they got to go through absolute war over there, which is nice for the East or the Empire.
Big time. And you can contribute some of our championship. I'll just give it a small percentage because I'm saying we are the best team, but that does play a factor. Those series go a little bit longer, and maybe they're beat up a little bit more when they get to see us, and we're a little bit more fresh and ready to go. So that could be definitely an advantage for the Black Bears. Yeah,
for sure. Anything you want to end off with?
Just thank you for the fans for showing up and showing out each home game. We have the best fan base in the league, and it just helps me a whole lot more with the college recruiting. So keep helping me bring in recruits, and we'll keep winning and hopefully bring home another championship.
Awesome. I love it. Brent, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Take care. And that's going to do it for this episode. Drop a comment, join the Discord. The conversation always continues in the Discord. You can get there from the link in the description of this episode. And until next time, I will see you guys soon.
Thank you for being the best part of this episode of FPHL Beyond the Glass by Swan Hockey. We will see you soon.